So I'm going to quiz myself a bit about how well I understand the plot so far. So, last recording, it was revealed that Izumi was indeed the seminar director. So early on in the game, I did notice that Yuka mentioned a character named ambiguously the seminar director, and that the seminar director instructed her not to tell Makoto what the purpose of the seminar was. Now we know that Yuka didn't even know the purpose. Whereas Okuhiko decided to make up a false purpose. Anyway, but my comment was, well, the cast seems to be closed, and so it doesn't seem to be leaving room for the introduction of the seminar director as an extra character. But I didn't really go on from there and think, okay, well that would mean the seminar director is one of the characters we know. Instead I just went, maybe they just won't go that far. Maybe that was just like a dismissive line to kind of be like, yeah, there's a reason for this, but that's not really the point of this game, don't worry about it. But turns out I was wrong, and that I should have thought along the lines of, okay, well the seminar director, if they are a character, should be part of the closed cast because the cast is closed. And yeah, then it would be obvious the one character for which it would be the most probable that they would be the seminar director would be Izumi, especially considering that she's the daughter of the leading geneticists in the world, and yet is graduated, but is working part-time over the summer at a cafe that gets oddly few customers, except in Saki's route, where it suddenly gets a bunch one day. I mean, there's apparently a big group shows up on April 1st, early, but you never see that. Anyway, so her circumstances are a bit weird, so she's kind of suspicious that way. But there isn't a whole lot of hints beyond that. Anyway, Azumi-san claims to have figured out what's going on, and it says that it's something like this. She can set up an experiment to study something she calls Cure syndrome, which is French for priest or clergy, and also is spelled similar to the English word cure, which I didn't even notice, honestly, even though I speak English, which is to remedy disease. And essentially this psychiatric disorder, quote unquote, is that you believe something to be true. You get utterly convinced that it's true. And even if it's false, it then becomes true. And you might go, okay, so just it becomes true for you. No, because in the story she used to explain the origin, or when this was first discovered, the boy Tom, when he heals, quote unquote, Julie's cancer, the doctors find no cancer. Meaning that he didn't just make it a reality for him, and now he's going to go through the rest of his life imagining Julie is still alive, and it's just going to be to him as if she was actually still alive, and he won't be able to tell the difference. He's not going to end up living in this isolation. No, Julie is alive to everybody. So he believed it into existence. So, apparently, in the universe in which this game takes place, if you believe something to be true enough, it just becomes true. It becomes true absolute, not relative. So it becomes true for everybody. So she set up this experiment to study this, and Okuhiko was in on the prank, but Haruka, Yuka, and Makoto were not. And in fact, Makoto didn't even know that Izumi was a professor. However, Yuka and Haruka did, but they were instructed not to tell Makoto that. So Makoto was like extra in the dark. But Yuka and Haruka were in the dark a little bit as well, because they didn't know what the reasoning was. They just knew that Izumi was the professor, the principal investigator, essentially, and the director. So, and what she did is she tried to deceive Makoto, Yuka, and Haruka into thinking that they were having premonitions. So she would try to find ways to manipulate them into predicting the future, and then she would make that come true. And Okuhiko was supposed to help her. So they would think they'd be correctly guessing the future. And apparently, although us is off screen, we never get to play through this part, she succeeds in making them think in, like, tricking them into thinking they predicted the future correctly. They don't get her trick. So she does good. But they discover the Shiki no Mori shrine. That is Makoto and Yuka. Now, this is actually kind of me reading into it a little bit. Yuka's, I don't know if it's guaranteed that the first time you play the game you get Yuka's ending, but it's by far the easiest one to get, so, like, most of the time you would. And so, Yuka and Makoto, because they see the shrine, the talisman in there, think, oh, we must have time traveled back in time, retaining some fragments of memories, and that's why we can know what's going to happen, because we already lived through it. And it just so happened that that shrine did have time travel powers, but its powers were not that it would send you back to the past, it would teleport you forward into the future. But they thought it could send them back to the past. And so they thought that's what happened. And they became utterly convinced of it and believed it to be true. And so because they believed it to be true, they made it happen and managed to go back to the past. So, and Yuka's the one who kind of figured this out even though she was wrong, and so she made this delusion start happening. So Makoto believed he can go back to the past wholeheartedly, and so he just kind of keeps... here's the other, so he keeps making himself actually go back to the past. But then Izumi complicates things and she says, well, I think the reason why sometimes you retain your memories when you go back to the past and sometimes you don't is because there's a part you're actually not going back to the past yet. You're sitting there in the moment before you die, and like in your head, you're somehow trying different ways of going back to the past. Like trying different amounts of memory retention to figure out which one gives you the best outcome. And then once you figure out which one has the best outcome, then you will, like on your local copy, then you will push that to the global repository that is reality, and that will become the new reality. So you have this way to sort of like really control, like lucidly, this exercising of the Cure syndrome. And like in the case of Yuka's ending, the answer was, they actually discovered that the shrine's real power was sent them to the future, and then that was got written into reality. And we know that the shrine really has that power because it happened to Kurumi, and that wasn't happening during the experiment. So, anyway, so I say that it's Yuka and Makoto who figure it out because they're the ones who eventually can go back in time while retaining their memories. And it's Yuka who figured out, who came up with the theory that the shrine was what was doing the time travel, and she was wrong, but she came up with that theory. There is no evidence that Haruka was ever tricked into believing she had premonitions, or Saki, but of course Saki wasn't even part of the trick, so it didn't matter. So Haruka apparently stayed clean of this and just kind of didn't, she didn't get tricked, I presume. And then to make things even more complicated and not make any sense, this happened to Izumi, because Izumi figured out that she started to believe that Cure syndrome was real, and that you could indeed believe something into reality. So, because she started to believe that you could believe something into reality, that would mean that she believed that she could make anything into reality. And so, that means she could do pretty much anything, and that allowed her to also go back in time when she died. So she did the exact same thing as Makoto. And then to make it even more confusing, somehow in their trial delusions on that moment, they were managed to interact with each other. Also, Yuka and Makoto could interact with each other. So they could both be living this this reliving of events, trying to find a good outcome, while both having their memories and interact with each other in that space. Again, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then Izumi goes kind of edgy with this, where she like takes she doesn't directly do this, but this is the implication. Like Peter walking on water. So Jesus tells Peter, come out of the boat. Like Peter's like, I want to walk out on the water to you. And Jesus says, says that Peter may do that. And so Peter gets out of the boat and walks toward Jesus. But then a storm comes up. And Peter's like, oh no, there's a storm. The waves are choppy, and he starts sinking. So then Jesus reaches his hand out, grabs Peter and pulls him back up and says, Peter, why did you doubt? And then we do this, again, this is very edgy fiction, this edgy fiction, where we say, Peter literally was able to do that because he believed he could. And Jesus knew that it was by believing you could do it that it became reality. So when he said you sank, that's because you must have doubted. Because Jesus knew about Cure syndrome. And because he knew about Cure syndrome, he knew that by believing he could make anything happen he wanted to. Including rising from the dead. Again, that's just fiction. It's silly Japanese fiction. But whatever. I mean, of course, it doesn't write that in there, but it's like subtly implied in Izumi's dialogue. Okay, let's continue on with this story. Oh, yeah, in the beginning I thought Yuka was the main girl. Izumi's the main girl. Izumi's the hot professor. So, way to be wrong again. I don't know what the context was. Okay. I was talking about Kurumi and time traveling and all that stuff. As Izumi-san finishes her story, I mule over it as I stare at a paper napkin. I wrote down the details of it on that napkin. I see. So that's why you were so disturbed earlier. That's why you were saying all that incomprehensible stuff about chicken and rice and shrimp pilaf. Yes. Just before Kurumi and I came back, you happened to see it by chance. And even though Izumi's a psychology professor, apparently she's like Alice. She's really good at math and doing like computations in her head really quickly, and somehow can swim really fast, and also is an amazing cook. Do we call this a Mary Sue? Just before Kurumi and I came back, you happened to see it by chance. The scar on Haruka's forehead. Yes. So in other words, your new sister that was Haruka, that's what you're saying. I say this, I circle a part of the paper napkin with a ballpoint pen. Okay, so then this kind of happens off screen conveniently, because in the true ending, you have to have all the other mysteries come to light, as well as the target one. I don't think the others know, but you and I are the only ones who know that Haruka-chan is a clone. And her birth date, plus the scar on her forehead, there's almost no doubt that Haruka is Kurumi's clone. But Izumi-san, I understand most of it, but the part about Kurumi doesn't sit right with me. The whole Kurumi is not my real sister. That 3-year blank, in that time, she hadn't aged at all. It's impossible, so Dr. Marino must have falsified the DNA results and probably pretended that another unfamiliar baby was Kurumi. This is what you were saying, Izumi-san. I never said probably pretended. I said that he might have pretended, and the possibility isn't unthinkable. So you basically said it in more words. Either way, isn't it possible that you're just making a misunderstanding about the whole thing? Izumi-san ponders over this before nodding. But think about it carefully. 3 years later, Kurumi hadn't aged. Can't that simply be explained by time travel? 21 years ago, Kurumi was inside the collapsing Shikinomori shrine and her back was injured. Right after that, she time traveled 3 years into the future and was found in the rebuilt shrine. If you look at things this way, then that explains her scar. Now, if you think about it normally, no one would believe this absurd. But if there was anyone who was capable of believing this, it'd be you. Because you and I have actually time traveled. We definitely time traveled. Yeah, but you did it by means of believing you could, which Kurumi couldn't do because she was a baby. I repeat myself for emphasis. I do it to make sure that Izumi-san doesn't start saying more ridiculous things like yesterday. Oh, Makoto doesn't believe it yet. Okay. Basically, yeah, this is, like I said, this is like the whole anime thing. If you just believe you can do it thing, put on steroids to just put to the nth degree. Yes, it's alright. I understand that perfectly. But you know what? Even if it's a fact we time traveled, you can't use that to explain what happened to Kurumi's body. Why not? Because the phenomenon we experienced was only our consciousnesses went back in the past, right? If, in Kurumi's case, her body went as well, furthermore, she was flung into the future. Right, so you have to say that the shrine really can do that because it can. Time travel to the past is you doing it, it's not the shrine. And you know what? In the first place, that's not the thing I was afraid of. My own feelings don't really matter at all. Whether we're blood related or not, Kurumi is my real sister. No matter what happens, no matter what facts I may discover. The love I feel for Kurumi definitely won't change. It's just, the one I'm worried about is Kurumi herself. If Kurumi were to discover the truth, then I wouldn't know what to say. No matter how I tried to explain the time travel, I don't think she'd believe me. Which is true, we had to use examples of being able to read her mind to convince her that we time traveled. Hey Makoto-kun, wait, should I do about Haruka-chan and Kurumi? I don't know, what should I do? Okay. Second choice. You should tell them the whole truth. That would advance the plot, right? What should I do? That's simple, isn't it? You should tell them everything. You should tell Haruka and Kurumi the whole truth. That's impossible. Naturally, I can't tell Kurumi, and as for Haruka-chan, if I tell Haruka-chan the truth, Kurumi might learn about the 3-year blank by chance, right? It's fine if she learns, isn't it? If you seriously don't think it matters whether or not you're blood related, then it should be okay to tell her. If you sat her down and explained the time travel to her, then she'd believe you. But, what's with the but? In the end, you're only thinking about yourself, aren't you? You're afraid of how Kurumi will react when she learns, isn't that right? But even now, Kurumi is fretting over the scar on her back. It's not like that scar is going to disappear if you reveal the truth to her. So at the very least, it should be alright if you tell her the true origin of the scar, shouldn't it? It's the same with Haruka. Didn't you hear what she said just before she left? I understand everything about you, Kurumi. Haruka has already realized it. She knows that Kurumi is her original. She knows that you're the one who thrust her away. Apologize to her. Simply staying silent and doing nothing is just too sad. Izumi-san doesn't answer. She keeps her eyes fixed downwards and quietly closes her eyes. Neither of us say anything as time slowly passes by. After that, Izumi-san remains silent until the barbecue begins. The moon and the jellyfish. Okay. An hour has already passed since the barbecue began. Everything is calm as we fool around and poke fun at each other. It's as noisy as ever. I guess that's what woo sounds like in Japanese. Okay, so that's what meat sounds like in Japanese. I don't know why this has to... Yuka's the same as always. While we're going on, a smile rises on Izumi-san's face. This is your student who is doing your research for you, Izumi. After what happened earlier, I could barely picture her with such a serene smile on. Did something happen? Perhaps my words back then might have changed something within Izumi-san. Did she resolve herself to tell them everything? At any rate, Izumi-san's beaming smile has brought me peace of mind. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen Izumi-san sincerely smile like that recently. The grin of hers that I haven't seen in a while is radiant, like a flame-consuming firewood. Nevertheless, I look back and forth between Kurumi and Haruka's faces and compare them. Oh, this is a new art asset, I guess. Because it doesn't have Saki in it. Well, Now that I think about it, they certainly do resemble each other, but the art asset doesn't show it. Haruka being what Kurumi will look like in a year and 4 months. And Kurumi being what Haruka looked like a year and 4 months ago. I can't really picture that. Hey, Oni-chan. Why are you staring at people's faces for? Well, would you like me to stare somewhere else? Oh, sorry. Were you charmed? Huh? You lost yourself when you looked at this young maiden's smooth skin illuminated by the bonfire, didn't you? What are you talking about? You don't have to hide it. Oh, that's right, Kurumi. Remembering something, I take Kurumi out of the circle with me. Geez, is it why do you take Kurumi here all of a sudden? If we don't hurry, then the meat reserved for Kurumi will be taken away. Oh, it's alright, this will be quick. There's something I want to ask you. It's about this afternoon. This afternoon? Kurumi, you left Luna Beach to chase Haruka, right? Oh, you mean back then? So was Haruka okay with it in the end? With what? The amusement park. Didn't you say something like it's okay if we go together? Kurumi might have said it, or she might not have. What's with that answer? Because Kurumi forgot. We didn't really talk about the amusement park. And what did the two of you talk about for so long? Nothing. What? Kurumi went fishing with Haruka-san. The two of us got really engrossed in it. So you're saying the two of you didn't say a single word to each other? Well, we did talk about some trifling things. Now that Kurumi thinks about it, she did hear one interesting thing. The story of the moon and the jellyfish. Well, you would say which one's the moon and which one's the jellyfish. Now, you would say Kurumi's the one that says she wants to be a jellyfish. But Haruka is the one that is described like a jellyfish. The moon and the jellyfish? Yeah, and you know what? Kurumi knows that story too. Huh? Don't just go, huh? It was quite a surprise. Why? Because Kurumi thought that only she and Oni-chan knew this story. Kurumi thought that it was a fairy tale that her papa made up all on his own. But Haruka-san knows it, so maybe it's a well-known story. Perhaps. I do everything I can just to force out this one-word reply. I told Izumi-san that she should tell them everything, but it would be ridiculous for an outsider like me to tell them. In the first place, there's no way that I could say Kurumi and Haruka's father is the same person in this cheerful atmosphere. Anyway, all I can do is get her to drop this topic right away. Just then I see, "Hey dear." Yuka coming towards us with tottering steps. "What are you doing sneaking off like that?" We weren't really sneaking off, right, Kurumi? Yeah, we weren't. Then that's fine. Anyway, Yuka-chan. Kurumi calls out to her, but Yuka seems to be thinking about something as she completely ignores Kurumi. "Hey, Makoto-tan." Suddenly, Yuka sachets towards me while speaking seductively. "When this is over, let's play a fun game, all in secret." Her gaze is going everywhere. She rubs against my collarbone with her right index finger. I borrowed them earlier. The tools, that is. Yuka puts her left hand in her pocket as she tampers with the tools, twisting and turning them. Jeez, Yuka-san. Oh, what? When she hears Kurumi's angry shout, Yuka finally leaves me alone. Kurumi wants to ask you something. Yuka-san, you know what about the moon and the jellyfish? Huh? The lunatic shellfish? Right. There was once the shellfish who was... Okay. Who one day went absolutely in... Hey, that's not it. There's no such story out there. In the first place, even if a shellfish went insane, what could it possibly do? Kurumi is talking about the moon and the jellyfish. Ah, right. The dune and the smelly witch, right? Oh, this is such fillery. Okay. Right. There was once this really smelly witch who lived in the desert, and hey, that's just plain weird. There's no way such a bizarre story would be well known. At that time, the sound of water splashing echoes. This sound is exactly like the one I heard at the last barbecue. I don't need to turn around to understand the situation. Saki's hand accidentally slipped and she spilled the beer in her paper cup on Yuka, who for some reason is still somehow in a location the beer can be spilled on, even though she's talking to Kurumi next to me. Huh? Yuka? But Yuka's in front of me right now, isn't it? Isn't she? So it gets spilled on Izumi. Which means I try slowly turning around. By the iron plate, Saki is holding a now empty paper cup, and the beer has landed on Haruka. Oh, okay. Well, one of those. Haruka's clothes are soaked from her chest to the bottom of her shirt. I see. Because Yuka and Kurumi weren't there to act as a wall, Haruka was directly hit instead. Hey, Saki. Sorry. Everyone becomes completely silent. I'm really sorry. My words are sincerely apologetic. As a further gesture of apology, Saki begins to wipe the beer off Kurumi's clothes with a dishcloth. To me and Izumi-san, who remember what happened last time, this scene is hard to believe. Geez, Saki, you sure you're not drunk? That was pretty careless of you, Saki-san. Everyone bursts into laughter. They cheerfully laugh at Saki's blunder as if trying to poke fun at her and brush the incident off. I'm just getting so sick of the word cheerful, cheerfully, Blah. Only Haruka isn't laughing, but it's clear she's not offended and seems to be taking it in good humor. A faint smile even rises to her face. It's as if anything and everything's all changed. The atmosphere from last time has suddenly changed to a harmonious one. Izumi-san and I exchange glances, and I begin to laugh as well. All suspicions that this is just a delusion in my head have disappeared. I am confident that this pleasant scene before me can only be reality. The beer stinks. We know that Haruka doesn't like smells. Haruka frowns as she pinches at her clothes. After that, our laughter doesn't cease until the barbecue ends. As a result, Kurumi's disappearance never occurs. The night just silently goes on. And I presume that Izumi didn't want anybody going to the shrine because she retains some memories from previous go-rounds where she would think that the shrine would facilitate the subjects thinking that their premonitions were due to time travel, which would create the time loop. But whatever. And something to do with Kurumi as well. Okay, we finally got to the fifth. I can't sleep. Goddess Avoki. I've already thrashed around in my bed many times. I glance at the watch wrapped around my wrist. 5th of Friday, 2:20 a.m. I definitely won't forget what happened in this day, this very night in the last loop. Going to Viewpoint Park in the dead of night, the starry sky, and Izumi-san's confession. But today Izumi-san made no such plans with me. I thought she would try to, but so I waited, but nothing ever came of it. Izumi-san is probably fast asleep right now. Koto-kun, I wanted to see the stars with you, just one more time. Izumi-san's dying words. The pain I felt back then cuts into my chest. Pangs of that sorrow and rage reemerge so intensely that I can't stand staying still. I've got to go. I gotta go by Izumi-san's side. Resolved, I stand up. Of course, there's no one in the living room. The only sound I can hear is Okuhiko snoring from up in the loft. Hey, wait. Okuhiko suddenly shouts in a roaring voice. Okay, so Okuhiko's sleep talking will be... I'm gonna look up at the stair. It's surprised this is bad. I don't have enough energy. And so his partner Lady Ginny arrives. Oh, come on. I've brought you your tea drink. Drink up. With this, I'll be alright now. Hang in there, Okamon. Now, you will pick the option that gives you more plot information. So, continue to listen. There's no way that's the wrong answer. Alright, here I go. Neutrino energy, power on, transform, there. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, swish, 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 through. Ready? The always invigorated youth, the gallant man with a tender heart. The warrior of justice sent by God himself for the sake of protecting the earth. His name is artificial human Okumon. Are we gonna get that Okuhiko's a robot again, like, at this late hour? Shalom. You've shown yourself, mysterious high-tech washing machine man. My eyes are spinning. Look out, Okumon. Good luck, Okumon. Don't lose, our hero, Okumon. 10,000 of the second power. 10,000 to the second power. He is Okumon. That's just 100 million. But I've shown multiple times on these recordings, I cannot do math on recording. It is cursed. I'm guaranteed to mess up horribly. Times 100 times a million. It's Okumon. Zzz. It seems he's just sleep talking. Fill his bottomless strat, I quickly leave as if I'm running away. I walk along the coastline road towards Luna Beach. The serene night sky is covered with countless stars. Their light, which shines down the blue earth, is full of an overwhelming, spacious and attractive and active feeling. Their radiance feels like it's piercing my eyes. I want to see the starry sky once more. Once more with Izumi-san. It's true that I saw these stars last night, but I didn't have the feeling it had on that night, and besides, I have to tell Izumi-san something important tonight. My answer. I still haven't given Izumi-san a clear answer about her feelings towards me. I want to properly convey my feelings to her. That's why I'm going. To where Izumi-san is. In order to look at the starry sky one more time, when I arrive at the shop, I immediately try knocking on the front door. There's no response. Well, obviously not. I doubt that Izumi-san would be noticed a small knock when she's sleeping on the second floor. Nevertheless, if I knock on the door too loudly, I might wake Kurumi. I think about what to do. Just then, 4 steps. I hear the sound of footsteps on sand coming from somewhere. It's a barely perceptible sound. Is it coming from Moon Beach? I cautiously walk around to the back side of the shop. I stand in the center of the beach and turn my head from the south to the north in order to scan the entire beach. Izumi-san? The pale moonlight shines on her back. Izumi-san is on the beach, slowly walking north. She's close enough that if I shouted, she'd probably notice it. But there's Kurumi to consider. There's no way I can just call out to her right now. Nevertheless, just where does Izumi-san plan on going in the middle of the night? And if she's inviting me to go with her, if she's inviting me to go with her, I totter after Izumi-san. At the end of Moon Beach, I slip through a space between some hedges. That's right, I am at the Tsukiya Hotel. Izumi-san is sitting by the poolside, dipping her bare feet in the water. Huh? It feels like I've seen this scene somewhere before. Well, Haruka, but like... That's because Haruka's her sister. Wait, is Izumi the moon? And Haruka and Kurumi both the jellyfish? Right, it was Haruka. It's like it confirmed me. On the night of the first and last loop, when we snuck in here, Haruka did the same thing with her feet. Izumi-san and Haruka, they really are sisters. I quietly walk over to Izumi-san. Izumi-san doesn't notice me as I get closer. All she does is vacantly stare at the pale blue water. This feels good. Her sudden words startled me slightly. Oh, so you noticed me. I followed you here. Izumi-san slowly looks up at my face. I see. And mutters this in a faint voice. Want to give it a try as well? Huh? After all, the water feels good. Izumi-san's gaze returns to her tiptoes, which she lightly waves around. Her toes make small ripples that spread with a clear sound. I sit down next to Izumi-san and take my shoes and socks off. Splash. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna commit suicide, okay? Anyway. When I sink my feet into the water, a cool, comfortable sensation spreads through me. It's just water. My body temperature slightly lowers from the cool water. Technically true, but you wouldn't be able to tell. I water-cooled myself. What Izumi-san said was certainly right. Well, doesn't it feel good? Yeah. When I nod, Izumi-san replies with a happy smile. Izumi-san? Why'd you come here? Why indeed? I couldn't sleep. So I took a walk on the beach, then I remembered this pool. That's all. But didn't you dislike this sort of thing? On the last first, weren't you opposed to sneaking in here? Really, when you think of it that way, it is rather strange. I think it's probably that something within me changed because of all these successive experiences I've been through. In that sense, it might be good that I've turned upon that. It means I'm not scared of things like that once scared me, like sneaking into pools. But, perhaps on the other hand, it could be that I'm this calm because I'm touching the water. The water's warmth is also warming up my heart. Gently and softly. Each time Izumi-san waves her feet, new ripples spread across the water. Pale lights coming from the bottom of the pool illuminate Izumi-san's face as they sway. This pool... It's a bit trifling, but the truth is this is a memorable place to me. A memorable place? Yes. The first time I came to this island was when I was in middle school. I had learned the secret behind Kurumi's birth from my parents, so I came to this island by myself. I thought that if I came here, I might be able to find some clues. No matter what, I couldn't bear just standing around and doing nothing. I wasn't able to swallow the story that my parents had told me. That's natural. If I'd been in Izumi-san's position, I think I would have done the same thing. That 3-year blank, Kurumi not aging at all, and the Shiki no Mori shrine. It would be completely natural to think by coming to this island I might find the key to solving these mysteries. I asked the people on the island and went to the town hall to examine documents. But in the end I found nothing. The only clue I could claim to have found were the strange legends about the shrine. Ever since then, I visited this island countless times. I picked my college because I knew that they had one of their seminar camps here. That's also why I know so much about the island. That's how you reached the point where you got to working at Luna Beach? Yes, it was just recently. I became acquaintances with the shop's owner while I was in high school. I came back so many times after meeting him that we became good friends. It was around this February that it happened. After I decided on the schedule for the seminar lodge, I called the owner. I told him that I was coming back again at the beginning of April. And the manager said, actually, that's exactly the time I'm going to Italy. The instant I heard that, it hit me. The plan for that experiment. I see. If possible, it would be best for the observer of the experiment to be an outsider. At the very least, in order to make the test subject not realize that there was an experiment being conducted. It would be favorable for you to pretend to be an outsider who had absolutely no connection to our college. And that's why you decided to become a part-time employee at Luna Beach. Did I get that right? Izumi-san gives a small nod while staring at the wavering lights in the pool. And I was picked as the test subject for a similar reason, wasn't I? I was the only member of the group who wasn't acquainted with you. The only student who barely went to school and never showed up at the seminar camp information session was Makoto Ishihara. I was chosen as the test subject because I was the one who was the most suitable for that role based on your criteria. Makoto-kun? So you're still mad? Huh? About the experiment? I mean, I would be pretty mad, but then again, I also wouldn't I wouldn't be in this position in the first place. So... Anyway, I think the correct answer is to say you're not mad, so I'll do that. I'm not mad. Of course not, I'm not mad. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. I just wanted to know the simple truth. Thank you. Makoto-kun, you're kind. You're too kind, Makoto-kun. My chest feels kinda hot. I'm embarrassed, but also happy. Izumi-san, now that I think about it, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. We still haven't figured out why Makoto never went to class. While saying this, I avert my gaze so that she doesn't realize how flustered I am. The Curie syndrome experiment. It must have been planned for a specific reason. Last night you said it was a counter-experiment. Yes. But that was based on my thinking as a psychologist. As a human, as Kurumi's older sister, I wished for the experiment to succeed. Yesterday, I described the third trait as being dubious. But ironically, the two of me within myself right now, their viewpoints are the complete opposite of each other. That you as a scholar believes in the third trait, but the real doesn't believe in it, right? Actually, that's backwards. Yes. Huh? Okay. No, wait a minute. To go back earlier in the conversation, you just said that you, as Kurumi's sister, right? As Kurumi's sister, you wish for the experiment to succeed. That's right. A firm thought can produce a new reality. If it's really possible, then it can even erase that 3-year blank from history, can't it? That's what I thought. Ex post facto modification? What? This is getting too powerful. But it's not. Whatever. I mean, you could easily just kind of wrap this into the morphogenetic field and kind of... Because the morphogenetic field encompasses all sorts of powers. Just kind of like... It's all just like the force, you know? Like... That was the trigger for my interest in Curie syndrome. But now it doesn't matter anymore. Curie syndrome and the missing 3 years, they have already passed away from my mind. I've already resolved myself. It's thanks to what you told me. Your words from back when then have solved the worries within my mind. My words? The words I said this afternoon. And again, this is not why professors do experiments. It's because they want money. Doing this kind of stuff doesn't get you any money. In which case you could get fired eventually. You don't actually get fired, just your contract doesn't get renewed. They just replace you. Then Izumi-san decided to reveal everything after all. Izumi-san doesn't answer. She doesn't even show any signs of answer. Just then she sinks into the water. Though as sudden, I'm surprisingly not alarmed. Izumi-san's body sinks underwater as if it's being sucked in. Though her actions have been spontaneous, they felt completely natural for her to do. Before long, Izumi-san rises to the surface without even spraying a single drop of water. They're gonna jellyfish this again. She's in the center of the pool, lightly floating face up in the water's surface. The clear, transparent blue lights illuminate Izumi-san's entire body. It looks as if her body is enveloped in a divine light. Okay, they're gonna jellyfish this. Okay. It's just a pose, though. A memorable place. I said that earlier, didn't I? When I first came to this island, this was the only thing that granted me peace. I'd walk all over the island until I became totally exhausted. I would be depressed that I had made no progress in the end. Times like that, I'd always come to this pool and float on this pool like this, calmly and leisurely. Like a jellyfish. Just by doing that, I could forget everything. So warm and gentle, being like this makes me feel like I'm dissolving in the water. Because the moon was all alone, it was lonely, and would cry during the night. Even so, the moon was still lonely, and so its tears gave birth to children. A lot of children. The child of the moon and the sea, the jellyfish. That's the story of the moon and the jellyfish. When I was young, my father would frequently tell me this story. Oh yeah, Haruka did actually mention this in Haruka's route, doesn't she? Nope. No, it's Kurumi. Whatever. When we took baths together, he would definitely tell me the story. The story's actually longer than that, but it's been so long since I last heard it that I've forgotten most of the other parts. Now that I think about it, he did at that one time. He did at that one time. It was by the time my father, me, Kurumi, and Haruka, and the four of us took a bath together. At that time, my father also told the story. Izumi-san, Kurumi, and Haruka. It was only for a month. That is the time the three of us lived together. Kurumi wasn't even a year old, Haruka was a year and a half old, and I was 4 years old. That's why I think those two definitely don't remember it. My father held Kurumi in his arms and placed her in a small floating bathtub used for newborns. Haruka was holding a towel and randomly wiping my father's back, getting bubbles stuck to the towel. I was in the bathtub floating like this, while crying. The scar on Haruka's forehead was still a scab, and it was swollen by the water. It was just too sad. Why'd I have to go and thrust her away like that? I felt hate, regret, and misery towards myself. My tears were overflowing and couldn't stop. When Haruka noticed that, she turned towards me and gently wiped my tears away. She kindly touched me with that tiny palm of hers. Even now, I can clearly remember that. This was a 1.5-year-old, by the way. That scene from back then. Childhood memories of that bath, to the three of us, that might be considered our primal scenery, the memories in our early childhoods that are permanently etched into our minds. I won't forget my father's large back, his wide chest, or the warmth of his arms when he held me. It's the same with Kurumi and with Haruka. That's why I think that just by touching the water, I feel like I'm being wrapped up in a soft, gentle, peaceful feeling. Because in the water, I can feel my father's warmth. I remember Haruka blankly staring at the dripping faucet. I remember Haruka sitting down by the poolside. Kurumi loves floating in the water, like a jellyfish, calmly and leisurely. I like rain too. It's as if my own body becomes a transparent drop of water. Unfortunately, this is just a motif, and motifs don't really tend to have, like, any intrigue. But whatever. Suddenly I look down and sway my feet in the water. The water feels pleasant. Water. Water. Is this like a family would you like to volunteer moment? Bye. Haruka, Kurumi, and Izumi-san, their primal scenery is memories of water. I don't know what kind of days passed by for those three during that 1 month. Haruka, who was running around meaninglessly with awkward steps. Kurumi, who cried for milk. The young praiseworthy Izumi-san, who carefully watched over those two. But just by closing my eyes, I can clearly see those pleasant scenes. Just then, Makoto-kun? Izumi-san mutters this. Makoto-kun, the stars tonight are also pretty. I raise my head and look up as if the sky is dragging me in. Okay, the tempest, This time it's my turn. The time has finally come to fulfill the desire I've held up until this day. Okay. They've been stolen. Okay. Okay, the next day, I'm visiting Luna Beach again. As usual, there are no customers. Izumi-san lays her hands on the table while blankly staring out at the dark ocean. The weather's not looking good. Yeah. The earliest weather forecast said that it will start raining tonight. Looks like they're right for a change. That's true. It certainly will rain tomorrow, won't it? Oh, was the way I said that a bit weird? A smile rises on my face and I shake my head. Izumi-san returns the smile and stares off towards the sky. The thick gray clouds are low in the sky. Just like the last shift, the scenery is colorless. Rain, huh? She mutters this with a sigh. But I thought you liked rain, Izumi-san. Yes, I like rain itself. But when I think of tomorrow's rain, I remember, you know. Are you nervous? Izumi-san nods while looking at the dark sky. It's alright, there's nothing to worry about. Tomorrow, if the two of us stay closed up in the shop, nothing should happen. You think so? Kurumi will go missing again as usual. Makoto-kun, do you really think that? I don't. I'm unable to answer. Izumi-san has been through the bluff, seen through my bluff. It's already too late to offer a rebuttal. Remember what you said earlier? For all we know, we could time travel again on the 6th at that time, even if we're sleeping in our beds. Nevertheless, in the end, no one knows if we will or not. We will or won't time travel. We really don't know anything about the true nature of the time travel or its cause. Izumi-san is certainly right. The two of us don't believe the hypothesis of the Izumi-san as a psychologist, that this reality is a delusion. Then what is the true cause of the time travel? In the end, Izumi-san and I know nothing. Hey Makoto-kun, what if at that time, if someone besides us dies, what do you think will happen? They time travel, because we've seen that happen. What? Would we still time travel then? Then what if it happened at a different time? What if instead of during the day we fall off the cliff in the similar incident at night? That happened, what would happen then? I can't answer her. Since I don't know the true cause of the time travel, I can't deny Izumi-san's words. It's like just calling out to the player. What is the true cause of the time travel? Answer. You know, don't you? And I wish I was smart enough, but it turns out I just don't know. Obviously there's a bell. The bell is there. But it would be very lame if the explanation was just the bell causes time travel. You just ring it at death, and you time travel. We know it's not the shrine. It could be... Izumi hypothesized that it would be the will. You will it to happen. You'll believe it will happen. More so. And then it happens because you believe it happened. It's the Curie effect. However, right now, the bell is gone. That's the only thing that gives me peace of mind. If that bell is gone, then even if something happens, the exact same history should repeat itself. Instead, you just stay dead. That's why, Izumi-san, about that bell, I decided to give it my all by asking her, Bell? Izumi-san, you don't have that bell, do you? Izumi-san purses her lips and puts her hand into her pocket. She friendly grasps something, pulls it out of her pocket slowly and places it on the table. I got this from Kurumi yesterday. She quietly opens her palm while saying this. It's a sand star. Specifically, it's the star sand in a small glass bottle. Yes, it's not that bell. That's what Kurumi picked up at Princess Beach yesterday. It's a star sand, not the bell. I breathed a sigh of relief. But nevertheless, where is that bell now? Should I tell Izumi-san? There's going to be a lot of divergences here. Man. Mention the bell's disappearance. Get scolded by her, but whatever. I'll tell her about the bell. Izumi-san, the truth is, I found the bell on the night of the 1st. Huh? I found it on Moon Beach, just like last time, and tried to smash it with a piece of concrete. I tried to smash it into pieces so that it would never appear before me ever again. But when I flipped the concrete over, it was gone. The bell disappeared? Yes. The bell disappeared? Izumi-san repeats herself. She vacantly stares into space, motionless like a stone. Her face is drained of color. It's as if I'm looking at an old photograph. No, but you see, it was night, so everything was dark. When it was hit by the concrete, the pieces must have flown far away. I tried to rationalize the situation while looking at Izumi-san's serious expression. Anyway, the bell's already gone. I don't have it, and you don't have it. I don't think any of the others have it either. So that means it's absolutely impossible for the same event to repeat itself. That's why it's alright. There's nothing to be worried about. When she hears me, a faint smile appears on Izumi-san's lips. That's right, smile! Well, just like you did at the barbecue. As I say this, I lightly pinch Izumi-san's cheeks with my hand. Even I don't really know why I chose to do such a thing. I just want Izumi-san to smile. I want to see her look at me with her usual kind smile. I pinch and stretch her squishy cheeks, making her face look comical. Okay, you're weird. Please don't play with people's faces. Well, she says as Izumi-san's smile returns. Take this. Izumi-san pinches my cheeks with her fingers. Okay. Good morning. Huh? What are you two doing? Carrie descends from the second floor and quickly opens her mouth. It's not good morning. What time do you think it is? I mean, it's before noon. I'm a little past 11. Do you realize how long you've been sleeping for? But it's important for Kurumi's growth. Wake up, it's growth, not gross. She said growth. That's what Kurumi said. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was growth. What, really? Yeah. Huh, that's strange. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. More importantly, what are you doing just now, Oni-chan? Nothing really, we were just talking. What? You were just pulling each other's cheeks? Are you playing Bulldog, Rock, Paper, Scissors? Well, something like that. Think your Kurumi join in too? What? But we've already finished. Huh, that's boring. If that's the case, let's play cards. Cards? The instant I hear that, a shudder runs through me. I gulp and look towards Izumi-san. Izumi-san's face has also gone pale. We'll play cards, and the loser has to play a punishment game where they get their cheeks pulled. Oh, shall we do it? Shall we do it? No, I'll pass on cards. Why not? Come on, let's play Mental Guts. Makoto-kun, you weren't remembering the numbers of the cards there. Instead, you were just creating the numbers on those cards. I remember the words Izumi-san said on the night of the 3rd. There's no way that's possible. Although I think this, my courage is completely shot. If by chance the same phenomenon occurs, if I get all 26 pairs correct, I don't want to have thoughts like I did back then ever again. I definitely don't want to play cards. This firm thought repeats in my head over and over again. Oh, come on! Well then, wait a minute, Kurumi will go get the cards now. Hey, wait, Kurumi. Not hearing me, Kurumi heads for the counter. I frantically chase after her. Shift, 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 shift. Oh, that's strange. Kurumi thought the cards the customer forgot yesterday were here. Hey, Oni-chan, do you know where the cards that were here went? Izumi-san silently shakes her head. Maybe someone took them. Kurumi gets engrossed with searching the vicinity of the counter. While she's doing that, Izumi-san and I exchange glances. Izumi-san's expression has gone stiff. She seems to be trying to tell me something with her eyes, but I'm unable to understand what it is. Soon enough, Kurumi shouts out. I start speaking on reflex. Sorry, Kurumi, I just remembered that there's something I need to take care of. Or shut the shop without hearing Kurumi's reply. It's good and all that I got out of the shop, but I have no clue what to do next. Without a destination, I begin walking west on the coastline road. After walking for a little while, I can hear voices behind the curve. Wait a minute. Where are we going? It's fine, you'll understand if you come with me. I peek around the curve. Saki and Okuhiko are standing with their backs turned towards me. In Okuhiko's left hand is a scrap of paper. He's holding Saki's wrist with his right hand. In an instant I try to call out to them with a hey. Kya! Okuhiko forcibly grabs Saki's wrist and disappears into a thicket. Geez, what's Okuhiko scheming up this time? I start running to the spot where the two disappeared. In the thick, overgrown woods, there's a thin path that is barely wide enough for a person to pass through. I can't see Okuhiko or Saki anymore. I can hear only the sound of movement in the grass from far away. I step into the thicket, chasing after those two. This road is I quickly remember it. On the last loop's fourth, when Kurumi disappeared, Yuka and I definitely went down this road. Which means the end of this road is that shrine. Does Okuhiko plan on going to the shrine? Well, in this route, the shrine shouldn't be so fearful, right? I quickly continue to walk while thinking this. Due to the cloudy sky, my surroundings are very dim. And Okuhiko still thinks that if he confesses his love there, it'll do something for him. There's not even any birds chirping or any wind, making the air feel stagnant and heavy. When I come to my senses, Okuhiko and Saki's presence have disappeared. I stand still and strain my ears, but I can't hear them moving through the grass. It's completely silent. A bad stench sticking to the trees wraps up the air. For some reason, my heart is restless. Feels like it's telling me that I mustn't go any further. An overpowering, intimidating air is coming from the thick grove of trees. Something's different from the last time I saw this. The smell of the woods is clearly aggressive. I get out of the thicket and finally arrive at the long stone staircase. I still don't see Okuhiko or Saki. Are they already in the shrine? I run up the crumbling staircase. You've got to be kidding me. Izumi Will believed it to be true, and so it became true. Yes, the path to the shrine was overgrown because no one came here to maintain it, because no one came here to rebuild it. That's why it was different. But you can still jump forward to the future, can't you? The end of the cape is still there. The open ground in the forest. The straight stone paving running through the center. The long staircase behind me that I only just ran up. But the only thing that's gone is the shrine. The Shikinomori shrine has disappeared. That's impossible. I definitely saw that shrine. Kurumi exists. Would she have to be... I even went inside it when I found Kurumi. Did Kurumi's scar also disappear? Even so, what is the meaning of this? Is there no shrine in this history? Because there's no longer a shrine at that cape. Izumi-san said that on the second while she was telling the story of the shrine at the cherry blossom trees. Is that it? A firm thought can produce a new reality? In other words, this is a new reality produced by Izumi-san's delusion? A delusion. A fictional world. An event within a fantasy. The bell disappeared. The shrines disappeared. And those cards disappeared. I'm unable to move. My mind has gone completely blank. I lose power in my knees and sit on the ground. It would be nice if I could will things out of existence. There's not one thing moving in my field of vision. There are no shadows, no colors, no sound. I don't even have confidence that I actually exist here right now. My consciousness feels as light as air right now, to the point that it wouldn't be surprising if all of it were blown out by a single gust of wind. Dumbfounded, I just stare off blankly into space. I've lost all my senses. Saki and Okuhiko. Before I know it, I'm back at Luna Beach. My surroundings have completely swallowed by darkness. I don't even remember how I got here. There's a few dishes spread out on the table. As usual, Izumi-san is sitting across from me. Izumi-san is alternating between saying something and eating. Hey Makoto-kun, are you listening? Yeah. I'm surprised. The voice that came out of my mouth was surprised. My consciousness still isn't completely here. My eyes are fixed on my palm. For no reason, I just continue to stare at it. Makoto-kun, what's wrong? Nothing. Doesn't look like nothing. You haven't even taken a single bite of the food. By the way, where's Kurumi? I told you about that just now, didn't I? Is that right? Kurumi went to visit the lodge. She's staying over there today. Oh, I see. It's true, Kurumi did go to the lodge to stay on the last loop. We just had this conversation. Hey, did something happen? No, nothing. I reply immediately. I just decided that there's absolutely no way I can tell her about the shrine. Really? Yeah. Liar. You're definitely hiding something. No, I'm not. I'm just a little tired. I really am a liar. But looking at Izumi-san's gentle expression, there's no way I can tell her the truth. I haven't forgotten Izumi-san's reaction when I told her about the bell this morning. I don't want to give her more things to worry about. That's right. To us, today is the 11th day of this seminar camp. Yeah? Do you want to lie down and rest for a bit? No, I'm fine. I said I'm tired, but it's no big deal. And besides, that'd be a waste. Huh? If I didn't eat this food, it would be a waste, wouldn't it? I desperately try my best to smile. It's alright, you don't have to force yourself to eat. I don't answer her and take a bite of the food. There's no flavor. Your cooking really is the greatest. Just one bite of it made me energetic again. Really? That's good. I silently continue to eat the food. Although I'm attempting to act cheerful, my mind is completely chaotic. Is this fiction? Is this reality? Is this a delusion? Is this for real? Just what meaning does this world have to me? My confusion is like a whirlpool that is slowly sucking me in. Izumi-san is kindly gazing at me. I can see the black sky over her shoulder. Right now there's no stars in this night sky. As if their radiance was suddenly lost. As if the stars were never there to begin with. The only thing that's there is a deep, endless darkness. Gotten to the 6th, finally. Rift between delusion and reality. The date has already changed to the 6th. Though Izumi-san had been talking about something this whole time, I mainly ignored her while occasionally grunting in agreement. Delusion. Fantasy. Illusion. Those words run around my head. The bell. I had strongly desired to destroy that bell. The cards. I firmly desired not to play cards. Is that why the bell and the cards disappeared? I mean, you're sort of blurring the lines between believing something to be true and wanting it to be true. But if you believe you can make something true by believing it to be true, that allows you to make something true. So I guess something could be true if you wanted it, then. Are my thoughts warping reality? The shrine. On the afternoon of the 2nd at the cherry blossom trees, Izumi-san lied. There is no shrine. If that's the case, then did the shrine disappear because Izumi-san strongly wished for it? No, that might not be it. It would be good if there was no shrine. I might have been the one who strongly wished for that. There's no shrine. That lie might have been a thought that I wanted to believe in. By wishing from the bottom of my heart, lies can become the truth. And my mental state at those times. In other words, the bell, cards, and shrine were annihilated, just as I had wished. Can you wish yourself a girlfriend? Yeah. The firm thoughts in my mind produced a new reality. Everything in the scene right before my eyes now is created by my delusion. Is this an illusion? Kodokan. The scene is called Feelings. Huh? What? Are you really okay? Yeah, what were we talking about? Star sand. We're talking about the star sand Haruka gave me this afternoon. I see Haruka's star sand. Haruka's? Ha ha ha. For now I fake a laugh, or at least I've planned to. Shall I pull on your face? Izumi-san pinches my cheek with her fingers on her right hand as she says this. Her fingers are thin and flexible. There's a gentle warmth coming from them. Warmth? Don't forget this warmth, alright? Don't forget my existence, okay? That's right. Why have I been thinking about all of this stupid stuff? I believe in Izumi-san's warmth. Well, that's a really awkward thing to tagline on. Seriously? I'll always be by Izumi-san's side. I swore those things, didn't I? Izumi-san is right here. She's looking at me with that kind and gentle gaze. The warmth of her fingertips reaches my heart. All this delusion is pointless. No, those things no longer matter to me. There's no need to think about them. I just need to settle things with Izumi-san. Izumi-san, huh? I firmly take the hand she was pinching my cheek with. Let's go.
行くって
Go where? I say nothing and stand up. I took Izumi-san's hand and forcibly began walking.
誠くん
Kodo-kun, why are you turning into Okuhiko?
ねえ本当に
Hey, just where do you plan on going? Well, you would think Viewpoint Park. But in an awkward twist, it could be the shrine. I silently continue walking. There are no moon or stars in the night sky tonight, and the darkness is as thick as snow. I steadily advance as if I'm cutting down the darkness. A slightly tingling sensation comes from my palm. Izumi-san's gentle warmth just passes in through me.
夢が
Princess Beach? Izumi-san lets go of my hand and turns towards me.
誠くん
Kodo-kun, why'd you come here? You can hear the sound of the waves breaking against the rock walls. The white sand at the shore has hardened from the waves. I kick away the sand at my feet with my toes several times. Izumi-san is patiently waiting for my reply. Izumi-san, there's something I have to tell you. Right now, I have my response to the words you said that day under the starry sky. Right here, right now. Izumi-san furrows her eyebrows tightly. She bites down on her lip. Her gaze loses its calm and sways back and forth. I also. Just then, all of a sudden, Izumi-san quickly stretches out her index finger and places it over my lips. No,
その先は
don't say any more.
聞きたくない
I don't want to hear it,
悲しくなるから
because it'll make me sad.
お願い
Please,
もうこれ以上
don't condemn me
責めないで
any further. As she says this, Izumi-san pulls back her finger. She slowly turns around and walks on the beach. She takes off her shoes while walking and goes barefoot. She gently places her feet in the waves that are washing ashore. You can see her back as she quickly stands on the beach. Okay. Her thin shoulders are moving slightly. Izumi-san bends over and brings her hands to her feet, still in the waves. Water begins to spill out from her palms. Ah. There are a faint voice in between the sound of the waves. Kodo-kun, look. She extends her palm towards me. I walk over to where she's guiding me. I found one.
星の砂
A star sand. Looking closely, I see a pure white grain of sand on her wet palm. It's the shape of a shining star. It's like Leo. Izumi-san closes her hand with the star sand in it and uses her other hand to search through her pocket. The thing she takes out is as big as her thumb. A small glass bottle. Inside there are 2 small stars shining. 2 of them?
誠くん
Kodo-kun, you really weren't listening.
今日の午後
This afternoon, Haruka gave one to me.
港の防波堤
It washed up on the pier in the harbor.
た一粒だけ
It's just a small grain. Izumi-san takes the cork off the small bottle and puts the star sand she just picked up into it. The grain of sand sticks to the bottom of the bottle together with the other small grains in Izumi-san's hand. The sub-stars. Okay. UDD. Anyway, the star sand that Kurumi picked up, the star sand that Haruka picked up, the star sand that Izumi-san picked up. The 3 stars, huddled close to each other, shine brightly in the blue, transparent water. Something cold hits my forehead. I look up, I see rain falling from the sky.
雨
Rain. Izumi-san mutters this and looks up at the sky. The raindrops are small, like powdered snow.
雨
Rain, huh? She softly closes her eyes and bathes her whole body in the raindrops. The pouring rain makes her body look like it's almost glowing. I've reached my limit. Okay. Oops.
どうしてそんなことを言うの聞きたくなかったのにもう私には誠くんの思いに応える資格なんて誠くんをこんなことに巻き込んだのはくだらない実験を始めて誠くんを
Kodo, I was the one who got you caught up in all of this. It's all my fault. Ever since this worthless experiment began, I've been deceiving you.
最後には
And in the end, at that cliff, you're wrong. You're wrong, Izumi-san. That was my fault. is because I couldn't save you. Stop. I don't want to see you sad anymore. No matter what happens, okay.
もうやめて。言わないで。お願い。だからそれ以上何も。離して。離して。もう。誠くん、これ大切だからあげる。誠くんにもらってほしいの。こうして胸の中にいるとゆったりとのんびりと誠くんの優しさに。だから私の大切な。
Okay, we leave. So we're 51 minutes past midnight. Okay. We leave Princess Beach and walk for a short bit on the coastline road. I stop at the base of the hill road that leads to the lodge. I'm soaked and I didn't bring a change of clothes, so why don't you go ahead and go ahead back to Luna Beach? The instant I say this, an uneasy expression forms on Izumi-san's face. It's alright, I'll be back soon. Huh? You don't want to? Why not?
だって誠くんのそばに
Oh,
私も一緒に。そんなこと、そんなことほんと全然大したことね。で
They vanished. I quietly open the door and enter the living room. The lights are on, but I don't see anyone or hear anyone talking. Then I'll go get a change of clothes. Oh right, and maybe a shower while I'm at it.
どうせ帰り
Going to get wet on the way back anyway, so wouldn't it be better if you took the shower at the shop? Yeah, you're right. He's going back to the shop? Well then just wait a minute. Leaving with those words, I head towards my room. When I look back, I see Izumi-san leaning on the front door waiting. Her face looks flushed, like all the blood's rushed to her head. So she's a bit feverish after all. As I think this, I open the door to my room. Huh? For some reason, Kurumi's there. She's in the middle of changing her clothes. Oops. That's awkward. Her back is turned to me, but all her upper clothes are raised over her head. I see her smooth white back. And immediately after that, no. Okay. The scheme's finally bringing me back to reality. Forcefully shut the door as I panic. Why was Kurumi in my room changing her clothes? Changing her clothes? What? On Kurumi's back, there was no scar.
どうしたの
What's wrong, Makoto-kun? Having noticed my change of behavior, Izumi-san comes rushing over to me. but I'm unable to say the words. This event has left my mind in a state of mass disarray. Calm down, calm down. I have to think about this calmly. 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 But I don't get time to think. With violent force, Kurumi comes bursting out of the room. Geez, what were you thinking? At least knock first. Oh, Oni-chan. What's wrong, you two? How'd you get so soaked? Kurumi looks back and forth between me and Izumi-san's faces. Hey, did something happen? Did something happen? What do you mean? Just now, you screamed really loudly, didn't you? Oh, that's right. Did you know, Kurumi knows he peeked. He suddenly peeked at her while she was changing her clothes. Who peeked? That's obvious, isn't it? Kurumi quickly points at me. It's Makoto-kun. Kurumi, why are you calling him Makoto-kun? Didn't Kurumi say something weird? Makoto-kun's the same age as Kurumi, so it's fine, isn't it? The same age. After all, Kurumi's 20 years old. She'll turn 21 this year, so until then, she's the same age as Makoto-kun, right? But did her body become a 21-year-old? At that instant, time stops. My body is frozen all over, feeling like it could shatter at any second. The scar on Kurumi's back has disappeared. Her age is 20, and the shrine is gone. Kurumi's past has changed. The history where she was kidnapped has been erased. In this history, Haruka doesn't exist. Right? That's what we've done. Kurumi was never kidnapped. I take a deep breath, but I can't exhale, to say nothing less of my voice, which also won't come out. Then what about Haruka? What about Haruka's existence? If Kurumi wasn't kidnapped then, if that 3-year blank never happened then, does that mean that Haruka doesn't exist in this history? I break into a run. I throw open the door to Haruka's room with all my strength. On the bed is Okuhiko. Okuhiko's sleeping on the bed, snoring slightly. Why is Okuhiko in a place like this? Right now, I don't have time to think about that. Look around the room, but there's no sign of Haruka. Turn around and run into Yuka's room. Instantly, I open the door, my nose is assaulted by the stench of alcohol. Zzz. Yuka is widely stretched out on the bed. Besides her are several empty beer cans scattered around her. Haruka's not in this room either. I return to the living room and frantically search everywhere in the lodge for clues. I look in the bathroom, the restroom, the kitchen, and the loft, but Haruka is nowhere to be found. It can't be. Haruka can't really be. I stand stock still and turn towards the other two. Izumi clearly has no idea what's going on. Kurumi looks scared of me because of my frenzied state. I grab Izumi-san's hand and rush out of the lodge. I run down the hill road, which has become so slippery from the rain that it feels like I'm rolling down it. Koto-kun, what's going on? If you don't properly explain, then I can't understand. I come to a halt and firmly grab Izumi-san's shoulders. Haruka's... Hey, calm down. Just what happened? Izumi-san's face is stiff from the extreme tension. The scar on Kurumi's back has disappeared. Izumi-san is dumbfounded, her gaze piercing my eyes. There's no doubting it, I saw it with my own eyes. There was no scar on Kurumi's back. It's all my fault. The disappearance of the bell, the disappearance of the cards, the disappearance of the shrine. It's all because of my thoughts. Wait a minute, Makoto-kun. What do you mean by the disappearance of the shrine? I hid that from you. I didn't want you to make you worried. This afternoon I went down the same road to the same stone staircase. Up the same stone staircase. We went to the Shriki no Mori shrine, but it was gone. There was no shrine there. The rain continues to fall. The cold rain mercilessly strikes down on us, slowly sapping away our warmth. I firmly thought about how I wanted to destroy that bell. I firmly thought that I actually don't want to play cards. When I touched Kurumi's scar, I firmly thought that this thing should just disappear. I think the shrine disappeared for the same reason. In order to erase Kurumi's scar, in order to erase that 3-year blank, I erased the existence of the shrine from this history. If the third trait's been proven, then I can't erase that 3-year blank from history. Then I can erase that 3-year blank from history. You said something like that at the pool last night, didn't you? And that's how it is. Everything's my fault. Then in this history, Kurumi wasn't kidnapped? Yeah, that's why she said she was 20 years old. Because a 3-year blank disappeared. Now to put it more accurately, the 3-year blank was buried. Such a thing. I don't want to believe it. But it's all the truth. The bell disappeared, the shrine disappeared, the scar on Kurumi's scar disappeared. Crawling in my crawl, I guess. So the next thing that'll disappear is Haruka. We break off into a run again. We run as fast as we can, and if we're trying our hardest to push our way through the pouring rain, the intense sound of the rainfall echoes in my trembling chest. When we arrive at the coastline road, I speak to Izumi-san. Izumi-san, you look around here. Check Princess Beach, Viewpoint Park, Moon Beach. Yes, I understand. I'll go look around the harbor. I'm going to borrow the bike at the shop. Yes. Izumi-san gives a deep nod. With that, I start running to the east, while Izumi-san starts running to the west. Filled with determination, I kick off the wet asphalt as I continue to run east. While running in the darkness, I stare straight ahead, but because of the heavy downpour, my field of vision is very limited. Haruka! I shout, but my voice is drowned out by the roaring of the rain. Suddenly, I trip on the wet road and I block my fall with a hand. I quickly get up and continue to run. There are no gaps between the raindrops. It's as if I'm running through a flooding river. I arrive at Luna Beach, but I have no time to catch my breath. I jump onto the bike and parked on the side and pump the pedals with all my strength. I pierce through the raining heavy darkness like a speeding bullet. The large raindrops beat against my whole body. Haruka. Where is Haruka right now? She couldn't have really disappeared, could she? Does Haruka no longer exist in this world? No, that's wrong. I won't accept such a ridiculous thing. Haruka's definitely here. She's definitely somewhere. I mean, I'm sorry to break this to you, protagonist, but there is no hope. Bad endings happen, and you've just encountered one. I hit the brakes and get off the bike. I stand in the middle of the pier and look around. She's not here. Haruka isn't here either. The crashing waves become a black fog that envelops my body. The roar of the billows of waves that feel like they could shake the earth echoes in the rain. I get back on the bike and go back on the road. The shopping district is like a ghost town. Although the wet road makes me lose control of the handles, I keep pedaling with everything I've got. I plow through the coastline road. Piercing cold rain has numbed all sensation in my limbs. But my legs won't stop. I keep on pedaling with all my might, even though I'm out of breath. And then all of a sudden curve appears in front of me. I slam on the bike's brakes, but it's too late. The rear wheel slips on the wet asphalt and my body goes dancing in midair. I roll on the water. For long, I land face up. My body stops. The rain falls. It comes falling endlessly from the black sky. My hot breast turned white, floating in the air. My back has frozen. Koto? Are you okay? I willed Haruka into existence. I undid all of the other things. As I lie sprawled out on the road, Haruka looks at me. Haruka? Haruka. What? Haruka! I spring to my feet with a shout. What's wrong, Makoto? I say nothing and embrace Haruka. Makoto? My sudden action has left Haruka perplexed. I can hear the loud pounding of her heart in her chest. Hey, seriously, what's wrong? No, it's nothing, it's nothing. It's just, I'm so happy. Huh? You're here. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm sorry, I don't really understand. It's fine. It's alright if you don't understand. All that matters is that you're here. But what are you doing in a place like this? You don't even have an umbrella. Yes. Because I also was happy. Huh? From the rain. Haruka says this and looks up at the night sky. Her face is covered in transparent drops of water. A gentle smile rises to her face. In that instant, Haruka exudes a charming aura. Makoto? Haruka mutters this and wraps her hand around my back.
誠の胸
Your chest, there's something mysterious about it. More of Makoto's chest.
あったかくてふわふわと浮かんでるみたい
Oh, they're trying to make them all the same. Okay. Haruka and I begin walking towards the west in the downpour. Once Haruka goes back to the lodge, I have to look for Izumi-san. Haruka enjoys bathing in the rain as I continue to push the bike. Before I know it, I've completely calmed down. But the moment I regain my cool, I feel pain in various places over my body. It's probably because I fell from the bike earlier. In particular, I have throbbing pain on my right knee. Suddenly I decide to look there. Ugh. My pants have torn at the knees and I can see fresh red blood gushing out of it. Say, Haruka, could you hold onto the bike for a minute? Huh? It seems I completely scraped my knee.
本当だ
You're right. Haruka is firmly staring at my right knee. I entrust the bike to Haruka and try to check my wounds. However, the bike falls.
あれ
Huh?
手が滑っちゃったの
My hand seems to have slipped. Her hand slipped. That's not what it looked like to me. What did I see? When I entrusted the bike to Haruka, were the handles apparently slipping right through? Haruka's hands? Haruka slowly bends over and tries to pick up the bike. The pouring rain looks like it's beginning to be soaked up by Haruka's back. Her figure looks like it's beginning to fade into the white mist. Haruka? I gently stretch out my hand and try to touch her back. However, Haruka gasps and suddenly runs to the east. My palm is left in midair, grasping at empty space. Haruka's back gradually gets farther and farther away. Haruka's back. Haruka! I chase after Haruka, running as fast as I can. Haruka has stopped in the middle of the street, crouched over, trying to hold something in her arms. It's Izumi-san. Izumi-san has collapsed on the wet road, completely limp. I quickly run over to them. I lift Izumi-san up into my arms and shake her body. Izumi-san, Izumi-san. Izumi-san has completely lost consciousness. Her body is burning hot. Okay, so she has a cold. Her temperature is extremely high. I've got to get Izumi-san back to the lodge. As I try to stand up, a white light shines from down the road. Uh-oh. It's the headlights of a car. I see the bright red car coming this way from the other side of the curve, driving extremely fast. At this rate, Izumi-san will... Wow, that's weird. And like me, that was weird out of context. And like me, Izumi-san also has scissors. This is a hard one. Stop the car. Haruka, I'll leave Izumi-san to you. The instant I make this decision, I trust Izumi-san to Haruka and rush out into the middle of the road. No matter what happens, I will protect Izumi-san to the end. Even if it costs me my life. I boldly block the path of the car. I wave my arms violently in order to catch the driver's attention and alert them of the danger. The car gets closer and closer. It's moving as fast as a bolt of lightning. Finally noticing me, the driver quickly slams on his brakes. The tires screech. The car slides on the wet road. It still hasn't slowed down. The body of the car before my eyes approaches me. As I stand in a spread eagle position, I continue to wildly wave my arms. When I come to my senses, I'm dancing in midair. The black, shiny road seems so distant. Large raindrops are floating in the air. I fall onto the ground, crashing into it with enough force to break my bones. Strangely, there's no pain. It's not just pain. I've lost all sensation throughout my entire body. I try to stand up, but I'm not sure whether or not how to put my strength in my body. I just barely manage to move my head. I can see bright red brake lights on from behind me. That's right, Izumi-san. Izumi-san's, I sneakily stagger to my feet. I begin to walk towards the car while tottering. It's a strange feeling, like I'm walking on air. Soon enough...
Makoto?
Kodo, are you okay? I finally reach the two of them. Haruka is sitting on the road, firmly holding Izumi-san in her arms. Haruka is trying to protect Izumi-san with her back facing the car. There's only a mere 10 centimeters between Haruka's back and the car's bumper. I breathe a sigh of relief. So, now what? Huh? Now what, Makoto, are you really okay? Yeah, this is nothing. My knees are even more scraped now, though. Haruka looks at my face with concern. Just then, Izumi-san slowly opens her eyes. Ah, Haruka. Oni-chan, hang in there. What, Oni-chan? I'm alright, Haruka. This is no big deal at all. But you've got this high fever. Fever? I don't have a fever. I'm just hot from running for a bit. Why? What are you doing here, Oni-chan? Because I was worried. About you, Haruka. Izumi-san cries in the downpour. Endless tears are overflowing out of her vacant eyes. Her tears sometimes dissolve in the rain. Oni-chan? Haruka wipes the tears off Izumi-san's cheek with her palm. Her touch is soft and kind. The two of them are wrapped up in the clean, transparent raindrops. The car door opens. Driver hesitantly walks over to me. Are you alright? I silently reach my hand out to give him a pat on the shoulder. He gets flustered and awkwardly averts his gaze as he moves back. He looks over to the other two who are embracing. The rain gradually gracefully falls. It's as if it's also embracing them, softly and gently. Huh? That's strange. My vision's becoming blurry. Suddenly I lose my strength. My knees give way and I fall to the asphalt. Makoto-kun. Their voices sound distant, but I'm glad. Everything's turned out well. I was able to protect Izumi-san. My vague consciousness is fading. Everything before me begins to turn white. I can vaguely see something faint. There's that fragment of concrete, and beyond it I see a coldly shining silver light. What? In that instant, my consciousness fades. Okay, Eternal Radiance, 9:47 a.m. Hey Kurumi, it's your fault things ended up this way. I'm walking down the coastline road this morning on crutches. One of my legs and one of my arms are in casts. According to the doctor, it appears I also fractured one of my ribs. Why are you saying that? It's not Kurumi's fault. It's because of that ridiculous stunt you pulled, Oni-chan. But you're the one who started it all by saying those puzzling things. Puzzling things? On that rainy night, when I opened the door to my room, you screamed "Kya," and you said that you were 20 years old, right? That's why I made that misunderstanding. If that's what you're talking about, then it couldn't be helped. Anyone would have at least screamed if you burst in them changing clothes. Right, Haruka-san? Yes. I see Haruka's face faintly change color. And that's another thing. You confused me with the way you said she was changing clothes. After all, there was no reason for you to scream, right, Kurumi? The one I saw changing clothes wasn't you. That's not the problem. You peeked. It's because you were peeking at Haruka-san while she was changing her clothes. Oh. Okay. Haruka-san's usual clothes got soaked with beer during the barbecue, right? She told me no matter how much she washed it, she couldn't get the stench of the alcohol off of it. That's why I asked Kurumi. I thought she could try lending me her clothes. And while Haruka was in the middle of trying them on, I opened the door. The rest we all know. Okay. But you know, why were you changing in my room of all places? Because Oken had fallen asleep in Haruka-san's room. Okuhiko got drunk and went into my room, and then he fell asleep on the bed. In short, it's because your room was free at the time, Oni-chan. Thinking about it now, it seems like that was the natural thing to do. The person I saw in the room, their head was completely covered by their clothes, so all I could see was their back. The person who noticed that I had opened the door wasn't the one changing clothes. In short, there were two people in my room, the one who was undressing and the other who saw me open the door. Of course, the first person was Haruka and the second person was Kurumi. In the end, what I saw wasn't Kurumi's back, but rather Haruka's back. And when Kurumi said that she was 20 years old, that was a fact, so it couldn't be helped. Wait, was her birthday? Because Kurumi was born 21 years ago. Yes, that's right. At that point in time, Kurumi had heard the whole truth from Izumi-san. It seems she told her on the afternoon of the 5th. Now that I think about it, late at night on the previous day, Izumi-san said this at the pool. I've already resolved myself. Your words from back then assault the worries within my mind. That's why the next day Izumi-san told them as soon as she could. As expected, Kurumi was shocked, but after seeing how sincere Izumi-san was, she soon came to believe her words. It seems that Izumi-san told Haruka the truth as well. That's why Haruka called her Oni-chan on that rainy night. Hey, Oni-chan. More importantly, but why did she call him Makoto-kun? Well, whatever. More importantly, when are we gonna do that? That? Oh geez, don't you forget? You mean the amusement park, right? That's right, the amusement park. Oni-chan, you promised that you'd take us, right? Yeah, that's right. But if Haruka... I've decided to go too. Makoto, you're paying for it all, aren't you? Huh? You're a sister, so it'd be unfair if you had to pay. You said that, right? Hey, I almost certainly did say that. That's my answer. The radiant smiles grow in the morning sunlight. When they show me smiles like that, I can't turn them down. Yay, just as planned. Hey, Haruka-san, shall we go to the haunted house together? The haunted house, huh? I like popping deflated Bakurinko more than that. Oh, popping deflating Babur... Okay. What's that? Oh, you don't know? It's popping deflating Babrinko. Kurumi's never heard of it. But Babrinko is so amazing. Is that so? It'll babby your socks off. It's really true. No, it really does exist. Listening to their cheerful conversation, I continue to walk at a leisurely pace. Clank. The tip of my crutches touched something. I quickly look down at my feet. The fragment of concrete is lying there. This is where I collapsed early yesterday morning when I got sent flying by that car. I see something flashing. It's coming from a corner of the road. The light is coming from some weeds. Say, Haruka, could you go pick that up over there? Huh? Where? There. Using one of the crutches, I point towards the weeds. Haruka bends down and picks up the shining object. Haruka places it in my unbroken hand. It's the bell. It's smashed and crushed flat, but it's that bell. The surface has all these jagged scratches on it. So I really did smash it. On the night of the 1st, I successfully smashed the bell, but because it was so dark, I didn't realize that it had flown away and was hidden in those weeds. What's that? Kirby looks at my palm. No, it's nothing. This thing is just junk. I say this and throw the smashed bell towards the ocean. The bell draws a clean parabola in the air as it flies. It momentarily flashes and shines in the sunlight, but before long, I can no longer see it. Makoto, this is called littering. Don't litter, kids. See you later, Makoto. Huh? You're going back to the shop? We have some business to take care of. You too? The two of us are going to watch crab sumo. Crab sumo, I see. But there truly is no shrine, though. How do you explain the shrine being missing? Besides, the two of us are together. They won't get in your way. Huh? How do you explain the cards being missing? Well then, later, Oni-chan. Kurumi and Haruka run off towards Moon Beach. However, oh that's right, I almost forgot. Would you put these on the counter of the shop? Kurumi takes something out of her pocket. It's the cards. Oh, okay. I take the cards from Kurumi. What happened to these anyway? Yuka-san was the culprit. On the afternoon of the 4th, we all gathered at the shop for the barbecue, right? At that time, she borrowed them, but continued to borrow them after that. When she said that, I finally realized it. I finally realized what Yuka's words at the barbecue meant. Hey, Makoto, when dish is over, let's play a fun game. All in secret. I borrowed them earlier. The tools, that is. So anyway, Kurumi will leave it to you. Good luck. Kurumi then energetically runs after Haruka. What did she mean, good luck? With my heart beating loudly, I reach out to open the shop's door. I remember the sensation of those wet lips. Oh, okay. Ah, Makoto-kun. I bow my head. What's this? You don't have to bow. No, it's just, well, as I speak, my eyes remain fixed on Izumi-san's lips. Oh, okay.
おかげさまで昨日一日中寝てたらそれよりも誠してないでし全身包帯だらけじゃないまた本当に
Don't talk like that anymore. That depressed face doesn't suit you. I say that then lightly pinch Izumi-san's cheeks. Okay.
誠くんが
Izumi-san and I sit across from each other like we always do. On the table is steaming black tea. The cards I got from Kurumi earlier are also on the table. Over Izumi-san's shoulder I can see the enchanting blue sky. It's as if yesterday's rain never happened. Koto-kun, would you take a little look at this? Izumi-san takes a scrap of paper out of her pocket. This was folded inside today's paper. A scrap of paper, it seems like some kind of leaflet. Why do I feel like I've seen this before? You have July 6th Saturday, Shiki no Mori Festival. July 7th Sunday, Tokitsukasa Festival. Invite all your family members and please participate. That's what was written on the bottom half of the paper. Right. And here I thought I knew everything there was to know about this island. It seems I've still got a ways to go. The Tokitsukasa Festival and the Shiki no Mori Festival. I didn't know about these festivals up until now. Hey Makoto-kun, could you try reading this? Izumi-san points to a part where the history of the Shiki no Mori Shrine and the Tokitsukasa Shrine is written. I continue to read the contents under the title. The Tokitsukasa Shrine and the Shiki no Mori Shrine were built to honor twin gods from an ancient legend passed down on this island. In each shrine, a single silver bell was enshrined as an object of worship, and a mysterious power is granted to the one who touches one of the bells, or so the legend says. It seems that there were twin shrines built very close to each other, the Shiki no Mori Shrine and the Tokitsukasa Shrine. But the Tokitsukasa Shrine was destroyed in an earthquake a very long time ago. Oh. All that was left of it was this long staircase. Well, just happened at the end to say there just was another shrine. Meaning that what you saw that day was the remains of the Tokitsukasa Shrine. The Shiki no Mori Shrine should still be there right now. No, it shouldn't. There's an earthquake. I see. Did I not realize it because of that strange, uncomfortable feeling in the forest while I was on my way to the shrine? The road I went down was the one that led to the Tokitsukasa Shrine. I don't know where I went astray, but Okuhiko and Saki probably went the right way and ended up at the Shiki no Mori Shrine. I think the two of them went there just because they were curious or something. Or did Okuhiko actually have a dirty scheme in mind, like I thought? At any rate, I've now confirmed the reason why their presence has disappeared in the forest. Humans are very shrewd. Even though the shrine's gone, they left behind a festival to it, at least to continue its memory. Sumi-san says this and brings her teacup to her mouth. The corners of her mouth are like a kind smile. Okay. When she returns the teacup to the saucer, her smile grows even wider. I can see her glossily shining lips. Okay.
「星は永遠に輝き続けるの」「水の中でいつまでいつまで」「だからその輝きを忘れないでね」「ずっと一緒にいよう」「
I'm in the middle of the ocean. The sun in the blue sky shines on the azure sea. I can't see anything else. I'm leaning against the ship's railing while enjoying the spring sea breeze. I look at the sea and see its surface being cut to pieces by the bow of the speeding ship. The bow. As a white sheet of water rises up, I see several dolphins playing around the ship. It's probably been about roughly 1 hour since we left the harbor. From behind, I can hear the innocent cheers of the others. Wham! I feel someone tapping my shoulder, so I turn around. It's Saki. At her feet is a puppy playfully circling her. Here. With a kind gaze, Saki presents me with a beer can. Oh, thank you. I take the beer can, open it up, and press it to my lips. I gulp it down, a sip. That's a contradiction. I sip it down, a gulp. But anyway, Saki, are you really okay with it? With what? Didn't you say earlier that you plan to transfer from K University to our college in spring next year? There's too much of a difference in level between K University and my college, isn't there? Well, I've lost any interest I had in that university. Besides, the atmosphere there is also the worst. Atmosphere? That's your only reason? It might be a bit different than that. Then what is it? The people. It's because Oni-chan's there, right? Oh, Kurumi. Saki-san, you just want to go to the same college as Oni-chan. No, you're wrong. But your ears are also... You want to be able to also not go to class. And still pass. But your ears are bright red, Saki-san. I'm telling you, you're wrong. You really sure about that? Incidentally, Kurumi has also decided to attend your college. What? That's why starting next year, Kurumi's decided not to call you Oni-chan, but rather Senpai. Wait a minute, Kurumi. Do you know what you have to... Did you have to take exams for these kind of things, don't you? Kurumi knows that, but she will definitely be accepted. You're quite confident about that, aren't you? Yep, that's because the one taking the exam won't be Kurumi. Huh? Hey, Makoto. Haruka's just gonna cheat for you? Oh. I see. Geez, hey Makoto. Haruka, what is it? Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you. Me? Yes, do you know who wrote the 10-foot square hut? No, but why are you asking me? Because I've already completely forgotten it. It's been several years since I took the exam. Wait, you're the one taking it? Yes. Say, Haruka, that's called a proxy exam, which is illegal. I know. That's why this is a secret from Oni-chan, okay? And what secret would that be? Izumi-san, good timing. I heard everything you said just now. I heard what? There's no use in playing dumb, Haruka. And Kurumi. If you lose a proxy, then Oni-chan will never forgive you. If you use a proxy, then Oni-chan will never forgive you. But, no buts. If you want to enroll in our college, then you're going to have to study hard and take the exam fair and square. Alright. That's alright, because Oni-chan will teach you properly. All of next year's entrance exam questions. What? Well, do you have the resolution to join the art of whatever? Yep, that was from his sleep talking. Now that I think about it, I don't think I see Lady Ginny anywhere. You're right, I wonder where Yuko-chan would have gone. Even though she was over here just earlier. That's strange. Huh? Saki suddenly shouts up. When we hear her, we all turn simultaneously at the same time. We look up at the overboard pilot house we see. Yuka making a mess of things. So Yuka turns you around and sends you back to the island. Izumi route unlocked. Okay. Got all those highlighted now. Oh dear. Cough. Well, kind of like, now you can read it, so you can pause the video in either position to read it yourself. I'd probably read these like off recording. Right. Okay, so they're actually explaining this. It's a complaint. Oh, it's going to explain what this is. A thriller SFX show starring Okuhiko. Oh, okay. You pause for this. Pause for this. So one of Okuhiko's things. Pause for that too. Okay, got the shrine. Got the other shrine. There's a lot about this one. Okay. Ida Financial Group. Curie Syndrome. Okay. Amy. Oh, here we go. The title of this game. The meaning of the title is Can Never Be 7, which refers to many things. Mainly refers to the inability to escape the 6-day infinite loop. Okay. And never reach April 7th. It also refers to the 7 cast members of Makoto, Okuhiko, Yuka, Haruka, Saki, Kurumi, and Izumi. Most whom aren't always able to stay alive. Okay. Furthermore, on slot machines, 777 symbolizes a jackpot, which is chosen because of its use in the Bible. And 7 itself is considered a lucky number in many parts of the world. The title is also based on this belief as the sad ending of the 6 days that never bring luck or happiness. Okay, bell. A musical instrument! Okay, the bell is frequently used. It is really a shrine bell used in rituals. Okay, on the island there is a shrine called Shikinomori Shrine. It never tries to explain what the bell is. We have a page for explaining what a coincidence is. There's no coincidences in video games. It was always written. There's no coincidences in fictional stories. Something I'm gonna like harp on a lot. You could also argue there's no coincidences in real stories. And you'd be right. So we have an entry on time. Okay. Okay. We have an entry for virus. We have an entry for concentration. Entry for star sands. Bulldog, rock, paper, scissors. Ten-foot square hut. Okay. Proxy exam. Counter experiment. And delusion. Okay. So there's some we haven't gotten here. These 4. These 2. That one, these 2. That one. Okay. Let's see here. Got all the loops. Izumi Cure Good End A. Oh, okay. So there's another one. And there's a bad end, I presume. CGs. We still don't have this Yuka one here. Saki one's still missing. Which we know is probably... It's probably going to be Saki at the hot spring. Some maybe maybe Saki ones here as well. There's probably Saki. There's an Izumi one missing. There's one missing from the kissing scene. That's interesting. There's still 2 missing from the barbecue. This is actually a Haruka one, so I don't know why it's there as a group shot. Okay, cool. Endings. 10 out of 19. Well, at least we're over halfway through now. Grand finale? That's an ending? Izumi Ending Good End A. Okay. Oh no, it gave us two. It gave me two for some reason. Okay. That's not really an 8-letter word, but maybe that's what those last two were. So, let's try to hit another one of these endings. Take Izumi-san to the edge of the street. I put my hands around Izumi-san's sides and lift her body up. I try dragging her body to the edge of the road. But I trip on something and fall flat on the ground. Lying by my feet is that fragment of concrete. I don't have time to speak. The car gets closer and closer. It's moving as fast as a bolt of lightning. Calm down and think. As soon as I think that, Haruka rushes out in the middle of the road. She waves her hands wildly as she boldly blocks the path of the car. Finally noticing her, the driver quickly slams on the brakes. The tires screech. The car slides on the wet road. It still hasn't slowed down. Haruka, standing in the spread eagle position, is still waving her arms. Through the openings in her body, I see the red car is still approaching. Haruka. Right then, an unbelievable scene occurs. Haruka's body is swallowed up into the body of the car. It's as if she was a mirage, as if she was an illusion. The car slips right through Haruka's body. The car approaches with great speed. Again, this is like things phasing through Haruka. A lump of iron swoops down on us. I'm hit with an impact so strong it feels like it could break my back. Because it could. My body is sent flying high in the air. Izumi-san's body is lying on the road like a muppet whose strings have been cut. My head strikes the asphalt. The dull sound of something rupturing echoes inside my body. My legs have been bent in unnatural directions. Strangely, there's no pain. It's not just pain, I've lost all sensation throughout my entire body. I try to stand up, but I'm not sure where or how to put strength in my body. I just barely manage to move my head. I see Izumi-san nearby me, also badly wounded. Makoto-kun. A faint voice comes out of Izumi-san's barely opened mouth. Izumi-san. I try to scream this out, but instead of words coming out of my mouth, overflowing blood comes out instead. It flows from my mouth and begins to dissolve in the water. I try to crawl over to Izumi-san's side as if my body's not listening to what it's being told. Makoto-kun. This is the end. With this, it's all over. The stars were beautiful. The stars were. Izumi-san slowly begins to close her eyes. I can't do anything. I can't call out to her or touch her. Why? Why did this? I rise in deep sadness. I feel no anger this time. In my heart, all I see is swirling, endless emptiness. My vague consciousness is fading. Everything before me begins to turn white. I can vaguely see something faint. A coldly shining silver light. In that instant, my consciousness suddenly comes to an end. Ding! Bad end. Okay. So let's go to the endings. Izumi Cure bad end. Okay. Box checked. Let's try a different one. So let's go back to this choice. Don't mention it. I won't tell her about the bell's disappearance. At this rate, there's no need to give her anything more to worry about. So nothing should happen after all. I try to act as cheerful as possible. If that bell is gone, then even if something happens, the exact same history can't repeat itself. It's alright, don't worry, everything will be okay. When she hears me, a faint smile appears on Izumi-san's lips. That's right, smile. Okay, can you skip forward? We see things that are missing. I can't skip anymore. Like this morning, I'm hiding it because I don't want to give Izumi-san more things to worry about.
そうよね。
That's right.
私たちにとって
To us, today is the 11th day of the seminar camp. So it just changes that one line. It's letting me fast forward. Exactly the same from here forward. Same.
鈴が消えたって何？
Here we go. What do you mean the disappearance of the bell?
神社が消えた。
What do you mean the disappearance of the shrine? I hid them from you. I didn't want to make you worried. I found the bell on the night of the first. I found it on Moon Beach just like last time and tried to smash it with a piece of concrete. But then I flipped the concrete over. The bell disappeared? Yeah.
鈴が
The bell disappeared. Sumi-san repeats herself. She vacantly stares into space, motionless like stone.
神社が消
Then what about the disappearance of the shrine? This afternoon I went down to the same road, up the same stone staircase.
えた。神社
You went to the Shiki no Mori shrine? Now it's letting me skip. At this rate, Izumi-san will. I put my hands around Izumi-san's sides and lift her body up, dragging her body to the edge of the road. If that didn't. Okay. So that's also a bad end. It doesn't give you that choice. I like this. I managed to hit the good end on my first try. Okay. So I presume that doesn't add anything, right? That's just a bad end. So this we're gonna back up to here. We're gonna say, I'm still mad. Oh yeah, a little. But with things turning out this way, rather than making me angry, the correct term should be drove me nuts. Think about it, after all. In the first place, the origin of this incident, the cause of me getting caught up in this infinite loop, was due to an Izumi-san from another history, the one who started this experiment. What? Isn't that wrong? What am I saying? If we were to assume this reality is a delusion, and that the time travel is real, then this Izumi-san really hasn't deceived me once. I really am nuts, aren't I? There's nothing to get mad at, is there? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, don't be. But you know,
どうして
I want you to know no matter what.
キュレイシンドロームの
About the third trait of Curie syndrome.
それが
To see whether it was true or not. What? Well, it still won't let me skip still. Nope, okay. But Izumi-san, you said it was a counter-experiment last night,
だ
didn't
から
you?
それは
That's what I thought, as a psychologist.
一人の人間
As a human, as Kurumi's older sister. Still, oh here, now it's finally letting me fast forward. Do I have a save for this? I should have put a save. Oh, I'll put a save this time. Let me look at this. Oh yeah, I did have a save. Okay, never mind. I backed up too far. Okay, now here we go. Now I'm gonna try I do instead of I don't. Yeah? I loudly declare this without a second thought. But remember what you said earlier. For all we know, we could time travel again in the 6th.
の中でうずく
Okay? Oh, and now I have to tree again. Mention it. Oh, I'll do a super skip. Stop the car.
星は永遠に輝き続けるの。水の中でいつまでいつまで。だからその輝きを
It makes me have to listen to this music, I think.
ずっと一緒にいようね。
Okay. So that one doesn't really matter. This one doesn't really matter. I'm going to silently leave. Ignoring Yokohiko's sleep talk, I open the front door. Okay, skip forward. This doesn't matter, it appears. This doesn't matter. Mention, get the good ending. Stop the car. So that doesn't... That choice seems meaningless, but... We're gonna see if that adds an ending. Okay. I'll have to sit through the train whistle again. Where's the good in B? Yeah, let's try it. You should keep it in your heart. What should I do? You say that, but deep down you already know the answer to that, right? Huh? It'd be best to keep quiet about this, don't you think so? Naturally, you can't tell Kurumi. And if you tell Haruka-chan the truth, Kurumi might accidentally learn about the 3-year blank by chance, right? That's why you should continue to hide the truth, don't you think so? Yes, that might be right. This will definitely change things. Izumi-san probably just wanted someone to agree with her. She wanted me to say staying silent isn't a bad thing. If no one agreed with her, then she'd probably be crushed by her intense feelings of guilt sooner or later. Izumi-san? Okay, it still won't let me fast forward. If that's the way you think, then I think it's okay. The world is a happier place if you don't know certain things. If telling people the truth ends up hurting them, then I feel that telling a lie or two occasionally isn't bad. I disagree with Makoto, just for the record. What's more important than whether it's true or not is whether you can believe it or not. Yes, that's why it's best for us to keep this locked away in our hearts, right? That's what I think. Izumi-san doesn't answer. Okay, now we can fast forward. Oh. Perhaps my words back then might have eased Izumi-san's worries. Guess you could say she's unbounded or perhaps feeling refreshed. At any rate, Kurumi-san's beaming smile has brought me peace of mind. Okay. See what this changes. Okay, this is the same stuff. It's best if we keep everything locked up in your mind. In other words, Izumi-san's fortified a resolve to continue hiding everything. Izumi-san doesn't answer. She doesn't even show any signs of answering. Just then she sinks into the water. Okay, let's skip. Don't mention it. This still happens. And it gets you a bad ending guaranteed. Okay. So you can't make a wrong choice here. I don't? Huh. Well. Hmm. It put grand finale here before it put Izumi Kirei good in B, though. Let me dig that stuff up again. Before I stop recording. Let's go. I have to click into my file system. Okay. I could, like, recreate these on the original files, but that's kind of cheating. Okay. So, Yuka bad end. This is probably Yuka route good ending. No, it seems like there's an opposite order. But you have Yuka good and bad, right? You start with Yuka good and bad, probably. Haruka good and bad. Haruka has 6 layers. It's probably Haruka good and bad. Saki good and bad. It's probably Saki good and bad. Kurumi good and bad. Kurumi has 6 layers. Kurumi good and bad. Then going back and forth here. So then we have 5 letters, 4 letters, 6 letters, 1. So that's probably Izumi Kirei ending A. Yeah, then Izumi Kirei ending B. Izumi Kirei bad ending. So that orders it. They order them slightly differently between the 2 ports. Because that's Izumi Kirei bad end, then Izumi Kirei good end A. Then grand finale in between. And I've shown with the Kurumi and Saki endings that this is not just the order in which you get them, it'll skip. Okay. Oops. That was a mistake. So there is a B. I just don't know how you would find it. But then you have, looks like there's an Izumi route, good end, Izumi route, bad end A, Izumi route, bad end B. Or there's something like that. And then some sort of, other thing. Okay. Well, I'll try it again next recording.